Alright, so this is more rant than ride. I got Miss Eldorado running again. My last video was changing the clutch. And so I took out my Rekluse clutch because it was burned up. And that's going to be my rant today. But, you know, you've seen me on videos before complain about dirt bikers riding over here when they have the whole desert. Well, you can call me out for it. Not really riding here. I'm just kind of testing my bike because it's next to my house, which I'm still riding here, so yeah. Okay, so if you call me out, that's legit, because I'm riding here where I complain people ride. So my rant. My rant is going to be, I'm not going to name any names either, but I took this bike to the bike shop to have it bored out. Put a board kit in it. I bought it from a local mechanic in Carson, and the bike was pretty doggy and stock form. Whatever work was done on it before, the bike just didn't run like a stock 250. Because I rode two other ones that ran way better than this one. So, you know, it wasn't really an issue, but it's like, what's wrong with this motorcycle, you know? I paid good money for it. It's not like I got it cheap. But anyway, back to the story. I took it to a shop so they could bore it out. And it was expensive. There's two board kits for this bike. They're both expensive, but one's cheaper than the other. To do a board kit on this bike, they have to grind the cases out, you know, which is extra work. So the sleeve fits in the case. Alright, so, you know, they had the bike probably 2 months. And it costs a lot of money. Very expensive. You know, like probably almost twice as much as a regular board kit would go on another motorcycle. So after 2 months, they call me up, your bike's ready. Okay, so after you spend a lot of money and they tell you your bike is ready, you expect it to be ready to ride. Okay? So that's what I did. I brought it home. I rode it. There's a video of the first ride. I rode it. They had adjusted my clutch. I had a Rekluse in it, so they adjusted my clutch. So the Rekluse wasn't working as a Rekluse. They adjusted it so it was working like a normal clutch. So I adjusted that. So the Rekluse started working. And it was working good. Well, I rode it in Eldorado twice. There's videos of that also. So I rode it. So I rode it in El Dorado. The first time in El Dorado, I kind of noticed there was one part where I stalled the bike with the Rekluse. You're not really supposed to be able to do that with the Rekluse, and it stalled, and I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. So the second ride into El Dorado, near the end of the ride, my Rekluse was going out. I mean, I was actually glad that I made it out of El Dorado, because, I mean, the clutch was stopped working. It was slipping and there was no clutch. But I got out of El Dorado, nursed it out of El Dorado, and then I parked my bike. It's like, okay, the Rekluse burned up. Probably because I bored the bike out, and it's a, you know, it's more horsepower, more torque, and the Rekluse, you know, I had already ridden it about 1.5 years on the stock bore, so I thought, well, it's just worn out, and I burned it up. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, never trust your mechanic. It's kind of like never trust your doctor, right? Always get a second opinion. Well, it's pretty much the same way. I don't know how much gas I have. It's pretty much the same way with a shop and then working on your bike. So whatever work you're going to have done to the bike, you probably want a second opinion before you have the work done. And then after you get the bike back, you probably want to have a second person check the work that was done to the bike, if you can't do it yourself. Well, I didn't check the work when the bike came back. I just assumed, you know, they're professionals. I spent a lot of money. They said it's ready. I got it back and I rode it. Well, a Honda CRF 250X has 2 oil sumps. A crankcase oil sump and a clutch oil sump. Guess what? Yeah, you can guess already. The clutch oil sump was empty. So they put oil in the engine side and didn't put oil back in the clutch side. All right, so 50-50. I'm not blaming it all on the shop. You know, 50-50. They didn't put oil back in the clutch side of the crankcase, and I didn't check it when I got my bike back. So I burned up my Rekluse clutch disc. And Rekluse is really expensive to replace the clutch disc. You know, it's the name. I put in an Outlaw Racing clutch yesterday. And, you know, that thing, I think it cost me less than $100. And you can watch that video. But that's my rant today. You know, have your shop mechanic's work checked. If you can't check it, have somebody else check it to make sure they did the job. Right. And I'm not naming names, you know, there were some other issues. If you watch my video of changing the clutch, you know, there wasn't there's a bolt missing out of the exhaust that holds the exhaust pipe on, the tailpiece. So there was a bolt missing from there. And as I mentioned last night on my first test ride, you know, you can see my speedometer, odometer doesn't work. They either broke the wires or disconnected them and didn't connect them back. And I'll have to get into that. It's not as important on this bike. I mean, this bike is street legal, you know, but I only ride it on the street to get to the trail and get back home. Try not to ride down the highway. I will fix that, but so that's my rant going on. Not all the shop's fault, but because I'm capable to check my own bike. You know, I change my oil and I do most of my maintenance, change my tires, change, you know, clutch, I change my clutch. I can do that stuff. So, not just blaming it on the shop. And I'm not going to name names. Everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. But, you you should know. Gotta stop saying that. But, however, you know, that's going to be another $350 to $500 to replace the Rekluse clutch pack disc. I don't think you can just buy the friction disc. I think they want to sell you the friction disc and the plates. You know, I love my Rekluse, and there were some things that Rekluses aren't perfect about, you know, but it was pretty fun, especially in El Dorado. That's what this bike is for, El Dorado. This is Miss El Dorado. You know, it's kind of nice in El Dorado with all the rocks and stuff you're going over to have to not worry about clutching. Or going up hills, you don't have to worry about clutching. You know, if you lose traction, come to a standstill, you don't have to pull in the clutch. It doesn't stall. Rekluses have advantages, but they have a disadvantage too. If you're going downhill, they like to freewheel unless you engage the clutch by blipping the throttle. So anyway, that's it. You know, I'm going to end this video because it's already 20 minutes, 25 minutes long. So that's it. Get a second opinion before the shop and after the shop. Get a second opinion. Nope, that garbage is still there. Alright, guys. Happy Easter. That's tomorrow. Happy Easter. I think we're going into El Dorado Canyon. I get Miss El Dorado back in the canyon tomorrow. should be keeping it slow. I don't have any protection on except a helmet and boots, so happy Easter. He is risen. God bless. Have a good day tomorrow. Bye. Yeah, there you go. I don't know if you can see in that gas tank, but it's nearly empty. Ha ha.